the blitz, throw me the bag, I'm cashing in 6-0's Devontae Smith. Who the better brother? I plead the fifth. This the Bird Gang. We going to war. AJ put y'all to shame. 100 yards a game. This year I was already got my name to grave. Step back, you ain't trying to catch my fade. Fly, Eagles fly.
Fly, Eagles fly, the birds and the guys on the way to victory. This is the start of the ride, one finger heavy. Gotta make it tough for all five. From the city where they pop a wheelie in front of your eyes. It's game time, get on the line. Sirianni drawing the plays, Hurts throwing them dimes. Oh my, y'all thought y'all had a chance. You better stack up your teams if you're trying to win against mine.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the Bird Gang Brothers podcast. I am Nathan Parker, and again, this is my brother Tyler Parker. How you doing today, Tyler?
Doing good. Getting ready to finish off the semester in school. So, we're just living the life.
And you got one semester left, right?
One semester left, then I'll have my bachelor's degree. So
for everyone out there listening, the Parker brothers or the Bird Gang brothers have both or will have both graduated in health administration with a bachelor's, and we both have goals to go on to get an MBA. That's kind of the future plan. So props to you. School's tough. There's a lot of challenges you got to work through. But again, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Bird Gang Brothers podcast. Going to our YouTube channel, one thing that I look at, and you got to take incremental steps when you're trying to grow a channel, your social platforms. But the one thing that catches my eye is our subscribers. I know we're not, big time yet. One day we will be. Maybe we'll find ourselves on TV. Who knows? But the goal, we want to hit 20 subscribers. I think that's a good ask. I think we're sitting at 12, and we do appreciate all those who do tune in to watch and who comment, who give us advice on maybe areas that we can improve and what other listeners would like to see. So we really do appreciate that. Please share.
it may not be that great, it may not be a high number, but in the wise words of Jalen Hurts, when you take a deuce, you don't just stare at it, you flush it down the toilet and move on. So hey, we might not have the best numbers, but you got to flush it down the toilet and move on.
I think over time, as we've done recordings, we've gotten a little bit more comfortable. We possibly still sound monotone, but it's just something different. You're putting this out in the public, even though it's Philadelphia Eagles football that we like talking about. It's fun, but there's definitely areas that we need to improve. But as we start off today, I did want to give a plug, if you will, to the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, Philadelphia is still better than the Dallas Cowgirls, who we will be facing off this next week on Sunday Night Football. But the reason why I want to say that is we're still first in the NFC East. We're still first in the NFC, and they are right behind us. That's nothing new. That's not new news. I looked at the 49ers versus the Eagles and the 49ers versus the Cowboys. The Eagles scored 19 points on the Niners, and the Dallas Cowboys only scored 10. So you tell me who's better. I did see a couple tweets following the Thursday night game with Dallas and Seattle, and it was just funny to see that, us as fans, we're not going to stoop to the level of the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. But I did see a lot of, if Lockett just would have made that catch from Geno Smith, the Seahawks would have won. What if, And it just goes back to all those drop passes against all the opponents that the Eagles have faced. There's always going to be these excuses. There's always going to be a narrative that's pushed by other teams and their fans. But it is what it is. So in regards to that Eagles and Niners game as well, I was curious to see the viewers that tuned in, because we talked about in the previous episode how many had tuned in for the Chiefs game and how many had tuned in for the Dallas Cowboys game. So actually coming in second behind the Chiefs game, the Eagles and Niners gathered 27.7 million viewers tuning in, which is 0.6 above the Eagles and Dallas Cowboys game. So again, America's new team. You don't have to like it, but again, no one likes us, and we don't care. A lot of primetime games.
That's something I've looking through the schedule. I mean, there were probably throughout the entire season, what, 2 games, maybe 3, that were your normal, at least for us, the 11 o'clock games. Um, but the rest of them, have been those 2:25, or your Sunday nights, your Monday. Like, people want to tune in to watch the good teams,
Yeah,
and the like you mentioned, and like we've mentioned in past episodes, Philly has reached to those to those individuals, um, and a lot of it is exciting to see, because a lot of people look at it and with how great, well, maybe the Super Bowl, with how great the performance was, not the outcome necessarily, but the performance. Of course, everyone wants to see that again.
yeah,
So no, yeah, just those numbers alone, like that's crazy, and it's a sight to see, because the Philly's never been at that level, gathering in that many people. So
yeah. No, I'm proud to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. It's a fun time. Really quick schedule. What did you think about that flex that the Eagles and Seahawks received, replacing the Patriots and Chiefs? I believe is what it was. Are you a fan? Are you not a fan?
ultimately, I people want to see a better matchup. The Chiefs are, as everyone says nowadays, dog water.
I was seriously just thinking the same thing.
Like, they don't want to watch the Patriots. Like, what the Chiefs are going to do to them, and so to be able to to switch it up, to have the two birds playing, I think won't be in that top 3, but I definitely believe it could get up to a good amount of viewership. So I like the move personally.
Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not making excuses. The Philadelphia Eagles got a 12 can of whoopin from the 49ers. Uh, so again, I'll reiterate, I'm not making excuses, but the schedule, I have questions. What team has had this difficult of a run this season, especially? I mean, like we've talked about, the Dolphins, and then you had the Washington Redskins in between that. But then after that, Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys again. Seahawks aren't a walk in the park. And so for them to flex and for us to get one less day after we've played 2 games, Niners and Cowboys, where they're coming off 10 days rest and we're playing back to backs, I don't love it. And I don't know when it came down to the scheduling why that was. But again, you beat who is put on your schedule. And, Philly has still proved that they're a good team. They're beating good teams. Just because they beat the 49ers doesn't mean that they're now, dropped out of the top 5 or top 10, which is one thing I think I noticed on all the media outlets following this game is the Eagles have been exposed, and they're not the team that we thought they were. They are a good team, but the Niners, I don't know. We're gonna see them in the NFC Championship game, but my Super Bowl pick. Now, before I say this, I still have faith in the Philadelphia Eagles. At any given moment, a team can win. And if we get home field advantage and obtain that first seed and that first round bye, I think we can still make it a competitive game. I do get a little worried after what I saw on Sunday with yards after catch from Debo, Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, we'll dive deeper into the game, but I don't know. The Niners, after seeing how they've played against contenders, I'm a little worried. They make my Super Bowl pick look more like a reality, but I don't know. Again, I have faith in Philly. They've won against some great teams, but the Niners looked absolutely amazing. Um, so really quick, let's talk about rankings. did you did you see the NFL Power Index that ESPN put out and where Philadelphia was ranked? Like
You,
what disrespect. That's all I have to say.
nowadays the media, we know how bad media platforms are in regards to like anything almost, it seems, these days.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the FPIs and stuff like that, I try not to pay too much attention because it's all like this mental game that these analysts and people are creating. Like some analysts, yes, they played before, they understand it a bit, but then some clearly haven't and are throwing out some of the worst. Skip
Skip
Bayless.
Bayless, which everyone, if you've compared Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless to now Skip Bayless and Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Sherman, huge difference. Skip Bayless
No,
gets destroyed by
no
those
wonder
two.
Shannon left the show. I would have too.
It's like Shannon didn't speak up. It's almost what it seems like, and Keyshawn's not going to put up with his bull crap, and so he calls
Mhm.
him out on it. But anyways, pushing the narrative, the media does it all the time,
It
and I
we saw it. We saw it a lot last year in terms of the type of schedule that we may have had, and we can dive into that a little bit more here in a
let's
sec. But
no let's dive into it now. We can circle back around to those rankings, but you were bringing up the Eagles' schedule last year.
it's all this, you know oh, beat week one, beat bottom five defense by 3. That was week one against the Lions. It's Kirk Cousins in prime time. That's always terrible. You beat Carson Wentz. You beat Trevor Lawrence. You beat the Cardinals without Hopkins or a kicker. There's all this. Oh, they've got an easy schedule. Oh, there's this. You shift those narratives and look at it nowadays. Look at the Cowboys, for example. They're sitting there throwing out all these Dak's MVP, Dak this, Dak that, which, yes, he's playing well, but like,
These last
does
8 games, I think he's thrown for 20 interceptions, or not.
20
I wish
touchdowns.
20 touchdowns.
But it's the same thing. Like, why? At least for us,
It's the whole team.
it's they're doing the same thing. They're beating up crappy teams. Like, yes, Seattle was the first opponent over 500 at the time they met. Which, yes, there's other teams right now, statistically speaking, who are at that level. But when the two opponents left, they weren't at that level, and the Cowboys barely pulled it out.
Hmm.
So, at least on my Twitter feed and Twitter world, all that I'm seeing, it's never the same from Dallas fans. It's, oh, there's this and this, but no one ever talks about their cake of a schedule. So, it at the end of the day, it's honestly just bulletin board material. It's more information for the players to look at it, laugh, and use it as fire. So
I do agree. I remember last year, all their schedule, it's a cakewalk. They're 10-1. The Eagles are frauds. And then you look at this year, their schedule is ranked at the top, strength of schedule, hardest schedule. They're 10-1, but they're still frauds. When everyone was asking how they would fare in close games last year, and now you're getting what you asked for in those close games, and we're still winning. That's all that matters on the schedule. When it comes to the first seed, wins and losses is how it's determined. So I think, I don't know, Philly's always been disrespected, and I don't understand why. To circle back around to those FPI rankings, they had San Francisco ranked 1, which after the game on Sunday, I totally agree. San Francisco is the best team in the NFL right now. That sucks saying that as a Philadelphia fan. I wish I was going to be able to come on here after the San Francisco game and say that Philadelphia was, but dude, San Francisco clicking on all cylinders. They are so talented and so physical. Then you had the Dallas Cowboys, which again I think disrespectful, putting Dallas above Philly when 1, they beat you, and 2, they have the better record. Okay. Again, you can compare strength of schedule. People are going to make the argument that, you know, you have no control over who's on your schedule as long as you win. I get that. We have to be fair to both teams when using that argument. Then they have the Baltimore Ravens, okay, Buffalo Bills, who are now, or at that time when we beat them, 6-6. Why is Buffalo ahead of Philadelphia? And then Miami and Kansas City. We beat both of those teams. Miami 31-17, and Kansas City is not the same team that they were last year. They have weaknesses. They just lost to Green Bay. Their wide receivers can't catch the ball. It's not clicking for Kansas City. So do I think Philadelphia should have ended in the number 2 spot? Yeah, I do. I think they deserve to be behind San Francisco. But 7? Like, ridiculous. And I think people were just waiting for Philadelphia to fail for them to be like, see, I told you so.
Yep.
So I don't know. The disrespect I don't get. Let's talk we're going to discuss the game. I mean, as much as we want to flush that deuce and move on, we've got to talk about it. But possible signings for the Philadelphia Eagles. We obviously saw the Eagles pick up Shaq Leonard, which I told you last recording, how sweet would it be for Philly to swoop in and steal Shaq Leonard from Dallas?
And it's funny too, because the narrative, which to be completely honest, I feel like it would have gone the same way if he went to Dallas. But now all these individuals on Twitter, oh, he's washed, oh, he's not the same. You look back and they were the ones tweeting, posting all these rumors saying, oh, we want Shaq. So I think it's hysterical. Um, and and honestly, I'm glad that he chose to sign this week, and that it's the 2 teams that tried to go for him.
Dude, I totally agree. I think it's the biggest smack in the face to Dallas where, like you said it was his choice. He met with both teams, and who does he think in his mind has the better shot at reaching the Super Bowl? And by his decision, it's Philadelphia. Okay? We know that Dallas will not beat San Francisco in the playoffs. Okay? If we end up 1 and San Francisco ends up 2, we're going to meet in the NFC Championship game. I just see it happening that way. Whether that's in San Francisco or Philadelphia, we don't know, but Dallas Oh, just when he signed with Philly, that was awesome. Another name thrown out there, which for me I think is more of a sentimental want. Zach Ertz requesting a release out of Arizona and wants to play for a contender. We saw Baltimore coach Harbaugh say that they were good to roll with the players that they have. Um, I can definitely see Zach Ertz returning home. Uh, what are your thoughts, and who do you think he replaces in that tight end room?
I'm right there with you too in regards to like the sentimental feeling on it. It's Zach was probably one of my top five all time favorites
Was
for
it
Philly.
comparatively speaking? Wouldn't you say that he's up there with Mikal Bridges as one of like your favorite athletes for one of your favorite teams?
Yeah, yes, I can definitely say that. And how cool would it be for him to come in and take over that record that he's a few catches short of, to outbeat. I'm losing it, but I know he, if he comes to Philly, he'll have the opportunity to hold like the franchise record, I believe it is. So,
For all-time receptions in Philadelphia Eagles history or something like
mhm.
that. Interesting. I
so
didn't know that.
I like that. I think, I don't know. Part of me thinks he would come in and beat out Calcaterra. I think Stoll would stay there, but
I
I just
agree. Our buddy Brian, shout out to Brian. He's gone to a few games this season, with one of them being the Chiefs game. Uh, Sucker. He was telling me he would replace Calcaterra. Uh, I agree, and I think it comes down to injury. Calcaterra is always getting injured, and I think Stoll is a little bit more physical and athletic than Calcaterra. But again, Zach Ertz has been injured lately too. So, and then the last, I wouldn't mind. I think we need some more depth, rotationally speaking, on the defensive line. Saw some rumors from MLF football, which again, not not too
take it
credible.
for what it is.
Take it for what it is. Maybe there's some rumors that they've heard swirl around, but Ndamukong Suh, who we picked up last year, I would love to see, especially stopping the run. Just add that much more juice to the run blockers that we have up front. So it'll be interesting to see who we continue to sign. And I love how Howie, he takes a loss, boom, he's on the phones the next day.
That was exactly what happened last year. I want to say against the Commanders. They lost, and within the week or 2 weeks, I can't remember exactly the timeline. That's when they picked up Sue and Joseph.
Yep,
So I'm right there with you. I like his determination and getting things fixed real quick.
agreed. Okay, so the 49ers and Philadelphia Eagles game. Let's go over that. Eagles 19, San Francisco 49ers 42. Rough watch. I mean, in the first quarter, San Francisco was negative 6 yards. They were not able to get anything going in the first quarter, and at that point, I was like, man, I thought this was our game. You stop them each time on 3 and out. What pissed me off the most is Philadelphia moved the ball over the middle to A.J. Brown, both drives beautifully, and we come away with 6 points. If we come away with 14 points, that's a different game. And then Brock Purdy has to play from behind, which everyone heard his stats, or Shanahan's stats, when trailing in the second half. He's like 0-33 or 0-30 something. But just the way we started out, minus the inability to execute in the red zone, I thought this was going to be a great game from Philadelphia. I was surprised with how they got out, but I don't know what what did you.
No, that first quarter, you know, it's almost like them not being able to carry out and score, um, and get those touchdowns in the red zone. Um, it sucks because I really feel like that would have been what made the game. I mean, like you said, Brock Purdy playing from behind, he's not that great. So I don't know. After not being able to convert on those two plays and ending it with field goals, I lost some hope. Of course, I'm gonna tune in. I'm gonna watch the entire game, as difficult as it is. But I don't know. There were I should say, very few good things that I saw, which we can definitely highlight. I mean, James Bradbury, despite hearing all that yapping, hearing that he's trash, he played phenomenal.
That was the exact point I was going to go to because I saw post game uh, when receiving coverage assignments, he was 0 targets, 0 receptions for 0 yards. Now, obviously, there weren't many targets to the outside because they were all going to the middle of the field because they saw our weak linebacker play. Um, like I saw, and I got the stat right here. For the linebackers in the middle of the field, 7 of 10, 162 yards, touchdown, 0 interceptions, and 145.8 passer rating for Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy threw for 314 yards, and 215 of those were yards after the catch. So, one, that tells you that they utilized the middle of the field that much, but two, shows you we couldn't tackle.
No, that tackling was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, one play that really did make me mad, and it wouldn't have changed the game, so I'm not here complaining about the refs. But the Debo Samuel touchdown, where Reed Blankenship got hit, like, held, like the dude
Yeah.
was sitting on him,
Yeah.
which, like, again, it's not me complaining about the refs. It's about, like, I don't know, like, obviously Philly didn't have a great game, but like that play alone just upset me. I don't know why, but it was annoying. And again, not like that play would have changed
Changed
the
anything.
outcome of the game.
I was grateful that the refs weren't a factor. Obviously, they didn't need to be with the butt kicking that Philadelphia received. But looking at the penalties, it was 47 yards for both. So they let them play, and you could see that throughout the game. So yeah, tackling was atrocious. I'm glad that you gave credit to James Bradbury because I felt for the guy. He was so humble when reporters were asking, "Oh, what do you think about Debo Samuel's comments about you being trash and how he thought he should have used different words." For you to come out and play the way you did, I mean, that's awesome. As a competitor, as an athlete, responding like that, I thought it was beautiful.
It almost shows, you know, how much of a bigger person
Oh yeah, no doubt.
that they are. Like I don't know if you saw with Fletcher, post game report. The reporters are talking about, trash talking and stuff like that, and he straight up was like, "Yeah, I've been in the league long enough to know that stuff is pointless. It's stupid. I'm not gonna get into it."
Yeah,
So to be able to dish it, like, receive all that negative commentary feedback, and then to perform at that level, even though it was the outcome of the game, even though it was terrible, I think that's phenomenal. That's amazing that he was able go out and show up.
Well, that's the culture that Nick Sirianni's built. I think I saw it on Twitter at these last couple of days, pointing fingers. You know, the Niners point fingers as to, oh well, you knocked out our quarterback, or you did this, or you did that, and Philadelphia points fingers at themselves and areas where they can improve, areas of weakness. They look inward, I guess, if you will, and the 49ers look outward. Now, again, I got to give credit to San Francisco because they looked like the best team on Sunday. I'm just saying, and this is past history. I got to love this Niners and Eagles rivalry is getting huge, and I love it. I love the lead up to it. Really quick, did you did you see AJ Brown's Instagram post after the game?
I look at
Dude,
all these.
I'm getting To vibes. Like,
Ugh,
yes, all-star wide receiver. I'm grateful we have him. He's a game changer, but his attitude is slightly irritating. On the sideline twice this season, he's irritated with not getting the ball enough, and then against the 49ers, after you just got blown out, you're going to complain about not getting the ball enough? Like, it's slightly getting irritating. And again, I'm getting To vibes. And so I hope there's no relationship or chemistry being broken or diminished between him and Jalen Hurts. I know they're great friends, but dude, AJ Brown, shut up. Ugh.
I don't know. I don't have much on that. That you look at posts these days of athletes and they have some weird anime crap all over. Like I don't know. It yeah, that's all I got on that.
Okay, we gotta speed through a few more things before we end out. Uh, MVP race. We talked Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes last week. It has been updated. You got Brock Purdy in the first spot, Dak Prescott in the second, and Jalen Hurts in third. Um, if Jalen Hurts beats Dak Prescott this next week, I think he jumps back to second. We also have to see what Dallas does in their so-called gauntlet these next couple of weeks between Buffalo, Miami, um, but
Detroit.
Detroit, Brock Purdy. You know, I know I've used that. People have crowned him the second coming of Tom Brady. He played half a season. I need to see more, but I mean, I let me see if I have his stats pulled up. 3,185 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Um, Most efficient quarterback in the NFL right now. I think you have to give credit where credit's due to Brock Purdy. If he can finish this and come back from what he did last year, and we see this consistently each season, I think he deserves to be put in that top echelon of quarterbacks. Even though I don't like to say it, you have to give credit where credit's due. And Brock Purdy's he's playing great right now. And we can't, I don't want to use the argument that, oh, look at all the weapons around him. Ayuk, McCaffrey, Debo Samuel. Well, you could say the same thing for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Smitty, Swift. So, like, you compare it, it's almost the same. And Brock Purdy's playing well. So I'm going to give him the credit. And after beating Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts the way he did, number one in the MVP race, I'm totally fine with.
I'm right there with you. I think again there's still about a month or so. There's 5 weeks left of the season for us really to see kind of how this goes. Um, I don't necessarily agree with Dak being at second solely based on the fact of who he's played. I mean, I'll give it to him if he can continue, throughout the remainder of the season doing the same stuff. Yeah, put him over Jalen. I hate to say that sometimes, but The dude's playing good. But again, one season. But
I think we need to know what's taken into consideration when voting for MVP. Does that strength of schedule matter? And I think that's where Jalen would take the cake. So it'll be interesting. These next couple of weeks between the MVP race, the number one seed in the NFC, it's going to be interesting and it's going to be fun. This is why it's why we love the NFL, why we love football.
talking about quarterbacks, in the MVP race, I want to ask you this question: Who, as of right now, who are your top 5 quarterbacks in the league?
So I mean, I have this face of, oh man, I got to think about it. But honestly, number one, Patrick Mahomes, because he's Patrick Mahomes. He turns, you know, nothing into something. He's talented. One of the more talented quarterbacks we've seen. Then I have that number 2, Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow number 2 because he's a great pocket passer. You know, whether the offensive line is trash or not, his ability to stay in the pocket and pass. Number 3, I do have Jalen Hurts. I have Jalen Hurts. One, for his leadership ability. I know a lot of people aren't going to take that into consideration. His improvement each and every year. I think last year you saw his improvement with staying in the pocket and throwing a deep ball. His deep ball has improved, and his ability to lead the wide receiver and see the field before the wide receiver gets to that spot. Number 4, I've got Josh Allen. He's got a cannon of an arm, his ability to scramble. And then the 5th one is where I had a difficult time. Like I said, Brock Purdy, I think I'm going to have up there. Now, this isn't of all time. This is just kind of right now, maybe over the next 5 years. A lot of people wanted to put Justin Herbert up there before Jalen Hurts. I can't see it with Justin Herbert, and he's had the talent. So, and Lamar Jackson. I think I'm going to put Lamar Jackson at 5 because of one, his ability to. He's like Michael Vick. Michael Vick was one of the greatest rushing quarterbacks of all time, and that's Lamar Jackson. And then I think right behind him could be Brock Purdy.
I like it. I'll agree with you. Number 1, I don't care what team you root for, how cocky the dude is, how annoying the sound of his voice sounding like Kermit the Frog. Like, you got to put him at number 1. Like, the dude's the best in the NFL. I've got him at 1.
Okay.
Number 2, it's a toss up, but I'd put Jalen at number 2, and agree with based off of what you said. Leadership, the ability to place, the ability,
The ball placement.
it's phenomenal. At number 3, I've got.
I have a feeling you're not going to say Joe Burrow at number 3.
No, I'm not, and I'm gonna put Lamar Jackson at number 3.
What?
I think he is a phenomenal player. You look at dual threat quarterbacks, and he is right there at the top. He's got a cannon. He is quick. So,
Wow.
controversial, but yes, number 3. Number 4,
Holy cow.
Joe Burrow.
Hot take.
Great pocket passer. The dude's crazy good, but I just feel like he is getting hurt all the time. So that's the only reason why I do not have him that high. And then
Number 5 is hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but I'm going to give it to Josh Allen. I think, despite doesn't have great receiving core. I mean, this year, addition of Dalton Kincaid, hometown hero. I mean, of course, I'm going to cheer for him always. You know, you got Stephon Diggs, but it's difficult because you know want to put Purdy up there. This is also another hot take, but I think in the next couple of years, you're gonna have C.J. Stroud creeping up in that list.
Oh yeah.
I think the dude is phenomenal. He I don't know what the Panthers were thinking when they drafted Bryce Young.
Well,
No
did
dirt to
you?
him, but like
But Tepper came out publicly and said that they were going to draft Stroud to Carolina. That was the plan because they didn't think that the Texans were going to go for him. They thought the Texans were going to go for Bryce Young. So Tepper publicly said that Stroud was plan A. So I agree with you. He's a great player, already a great leader in the locker room, and his deep ball. I mean, it sucks that they lost Tank Dell.
mhm.
We're gonna close out. I mean, you know, everyone, you hear Tyler and I like, okay, we're gonna close this thing out. Usually, we like to stay in that 30-minute range. As you can tell on the length of our videos, but sometimes we just get talking. There's other areas we want to discuss, and it goes a little longer. So we'll close out because I know. Oh, I've got to give you this little piece of information, and then I'll let you close out because I know you had something. Um, Eagles insider Dave Spadaro. Let's see. Okay. Eagles insider Dave Spadaro provides insight into how exactly the Eagles offense is run. Nick Sirianni is extremely involved. This is Nick's offense with input from the coaching staff. They put together the game plan during the week, and then Brian knows where to go. It's quite possible that Brian Johnson is getting a lot of fire from the fans that he needs to go. Maybe it's not Brian Johnson. Philadelphia turned it around when Nick Sirianni gave up play calls to Shane Steichen. I wonder if Nick Sirianni is worried because Brian Johnson is a first-year coordinator. We've got a talented team, possibility of returning to the Super Bowl. And he just doesn't want to turn it over to a rookie? Like, I don't know. But I'm curious if Nick Sirianni were to let go of the reins a little bit, what happens? So I don't know. Maybe it hasn't been Brian Johnson this whole time. Maybe it's been Nick Sirianni. But I thought that was interesting. I saw that tweet today and I was like, oh crap. So
I don't know. These next few weeks will definitely be telling. And it'll be interesting to watch and see, you know, how things go. But
I
to re-
still I still stand by what I said last time. We will lose the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl because of our coordinators, not because of our players.
now to end off, it was definitely controversial this last week. Um, it feels like that was the only thing that was talked on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon was the college football playoff and how that ended up. So, kind of to end things off, I wanted to ask you, Nate, if you're selecting four teams right now, you had the same kind of format, same style. Who are your four teams advancing in a college football playoff?
In the college football playoff, um,
For no, for the NFL.
oh, oh, I was like, so number one seed, San Francisco. There's no doubt in my mind. Number two, I'm not being biased, but Philadelphia. There's no one in the AFC that scares me. The Chiefs aren't playing ball well. The Ravens, I mean, they don't really have wide receivers, at least in my mind, talented enough to make a deep run. And there's no Joe Burrow. So I'd probably say Niners at 1, Eagles at 2. Dang, bro, this is a tough question. I don't know, Chiefs because they're the Chiefs. and they have Patrick Mahomes maybe at 3 because I don't want to take all NFC teams, even though I think that Dallas should possibly be in there. So if I'm taking 2 NFC and 2 AFC, it's Niners 1, Eagles 2, Chiefs 3, and Ravens 4. Like if I'm making it to, like, if I'm being equal to each conference, AFC and NFC, those are the 4 that I would put. Who do you put?
There's no point to go into it further. You read my mind perfectly. That's exactly how I would have it.
If you
Maybe
weren't doing AFC and NFC, would you put the Cowboys in there in the top 4?
Yeah, probably at number 4. But if we had to keep it, I think I'd switch the Ravens and the Chiefs, just based off of
Yeah.
records. But you never know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Can't forget about the Dolphins. I guess that's the other team that could make some noise and beat the Chiefs.
But to all
So-
all you viewers, please comment on this episode below. Let us know who your 4 teams would be in the college football playoff in the NFL, and let us know what you.
As well as the top 5 quarterbacks. Let us know who the top 5 quarterbacks are in your mind.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned next week's episode. Have a wonderful day.
Peace out. Go Eagles.